All right, little update on the body part of the project. We are stripping the firewall down, taking the wiring harness off, remove the master cylinder, take these brake lines off because we're going to replace them all. Going to remove the windshield wiper motor also. Heater box I'm going to leave because that'll get painted with it. As you can see, that was a factory mark there, but we're not worried about factory stuff. Somebody put a hole there for something, probably to get to a transmission or something back in the day. So we'll put a patch on that, and that'll be about it. And then we'll scuff everything real good, wash everything. Got a little bit of scraping to do here on the frame. There's some crust buildup. Most of it came off when we power washed the first and second time. And then we will spray everything. Front end and everything is tight. I will replace all those bushings. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to replace the steering gear because it is tight. Springs are good. All that. I will replace shocks, of course. That's part of it. And all the whole brake hardware, the hoses. And like I said, these lines will get replaced also. So... all right, I'm gonna get this stripped down. I won't bore you with that. And then once we get that done, I don't think we're gonna power wash today. Don't really feel it today. So we might start putting some pistons into the block and get going on that. So, all right, we'll pick you up when we're putting pistons or rings on. All right, just wanted to show you all the stuff that came out of the frame. I did scrape some stuff off the top here, which wasn't much, and I started blowing with the air compressor with this extended nozzle all in all the cracks and everywhere, and that's what came out of the frame. That's probably 55 years of road debris. Of course, I think this has been off the road for at least 10, but from what I understand, the car was originally from Vermont or Massachusetts, I think, somewhere up in New England. But I don't think it was ever used during the winter. I don't think it was somebody's, because the body's in too good a condition. Granted, it did have quarters hung, but the rest of it is too solid. Floorboards, trunk, and everything. If it was in daily use, that would have rotted a long time ago. But as you can see, we got the whole firewall, got the brake booster off and everything stripped off. We got to sand it, like I said, and then what we're gonna do is power wash next, sweep the rest of this up, and degrease this, sand it, probably wash it again after we do that. Oh, look it. Why do you always come out when I'm filming? You're never around when I'm working, but you come out when I'm filming. You're a slacker. He's here for moral support, I guess. So, all right, just wanted to show you everything that I got out of there. Amazing what's held in the frame. And I had already washed the frame out and blew it out one time already. So that just tells you how much stuff is caught in areas that you can't see and stuff. And over time, if it gets wet, it will rot things, but of course this car will probably never get wet again, hopefully. So, all right, back to work. All right, making progress on the frame and the engine compartment here. We started deburring the frame. That just makes things, it'll hold paint better. Plus, like when you're working in there, you don't have to worry about getting nicked by, there's just slag everywhere. Don't know if you can see it or not in there, but like the tops of the A-arms and the tops of the frames. So we got to do a little patch in here and the firewall there, that people over the years have, it looks like somebody blew holes in it to get the transmission bolts out, which is just ridiculous. All you got to do is tip the motor back a little bit and they come right out. These are actually pretty easy to get to, but all in all, it's going well. Like I said, just sanding, grinding. Gonna do a little welding, make a patch for that. We covered up where the harness goes. Got brake lines off the front, and like I said, we're just we got the fuel tank out also yesterday. Didn't show that. but trunk looks fantastic, which is great. A little wind noise there from the fan. Trunk floor looks great. So what we'll do is we'll get under there and kind of wire wheel stuff a little bit and then power wash again, and then we're just going to paint the whole bottom of this satin black. All of this firewall, everything, frame, satin black. Now these frames weren't painted from the factory, so but we're going to paint it, just make it look a little more pretty, and then we're just going to paint over everything that's here and then replace our rubber parts and brake parts afterwards. So it'll just be easier that way. I don't have to worry about taping things off. And so let me get started here. I got to make a patch for there, got to fix those holes there. I'll show you when that's done, and then we got to scuff the whole firewall. And all these little holes on the firewall, they're all for accessories and stuff, so they stay. All right, we got the car out of the garage. We're gonna jack it up. Look how crooked it's sitting. We kind of went along the frame, deburred it, sanded everything down a little bit, and we got all the, like I said, the rough stuff off of it. We did underneath. We did that little patch there. It's not the greatest, but it'll be fine because it's not even going to be seen. So we welded a piece in and just skim coated it with some glass. And what we're gonna do is power wash again. Probably won't be the last power wash. Probably have to do it one more time, but that's all right. We're making headway. Unfortunately, when you do this process, usually everything is repeated 2 and 3 times. So, all right, we're gonna get it jacked up, start power washing, and see if we can get the frame blasted and cleaned off and underneath the car. All right, so today, after I was done power washing everything, I was rubbing some sandpaper, and I noticed the bottom of this box was kind of rotted. So when I pulled it back in the garage, I said, you know what, let me take this off and repair that. And look at that. Wonder why the heat wouldn't work. That's all mouse nests. That's what happens when cars sit for any length of time, and then all the mouse pee and poo gets down in there and rots the box out. So guess we got to clean that out, which I should have known. All right, well, looks like the project just gets deeper and deeper. We were going to try to finish sanding and put some primer on today, but guess that's not going to happen. Is what it is. That's what happens when you deal with this old stuff. So all right, let me get this cleaned out, get this box repaired. All right, so this morning we're going to mess with this heater box. So this is the outside heater box that goes right there, and you can see it's rotted on the bottom. I have ordered a brand new one for $47. It's not worth messing with. I'm also going to put another skim coat on this just to kind of finish it off. But the inside heater box is rusted also. See, there's a hole there, and it was very thin here on the edge. So what I did was I sanded the whole thing down, and then I sprayed, it's called rust mort. It's a SEM product. It converts to rust, so it stops it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fiberglass short strand hair, do a coat here. I'm going to try to build up this corner a little bit to give it some strength back. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's under the dash. It'll never be seen. And then also cover this area here. I'll do a couple coats, sand it, make it look decent, and then we'll respray the whole thing in satin black. But this piece, I don't think you can buy it new. I didn't see it new. I see them refurbished for like $400 to $500. And I'm like, well, I can do basically the same thing. So like I said, it's not something critical. All the doors work, everything still works in it, so it's not bad. It's just really thin here where there was, so this is where the heater core goes. This is the heater core. It goes in like that, goes in there. And then but my problem was the mice had gotten in there and just destroyed it. So like I said, we're going to use some short strand fiberglass filler, firm it back up, sand it down, paint it, and it'll be fine. It'll look fine. It's not a structural piece, so it's not going to make a difference. So we'll show you once we get some coats on it. And like I said, I'm going to touch up a couple little places on the firewall here where I had done a welding and a couple repairs, and I'll just use the stuff over it just to fill it. You know, there was a couple holes that I had welded in just to finish it off. Not that you'll ever see it, but I know it's there. So all right, we'll show you when we get some fiberglass on it. All right, so we got one coat of the fiberglass on here. Looks pretty good. We got it just rough sanded. We're gonna put another coat on it, and but it stiffened it up good. Got rid of all the holes, and that's just first coat. So I think one more coat should be pretty good, and then we'll prime it, epoxy prime it so it doesn't rust anymore, and then just shoot it with some satin black. So we do one more coat, sand it down, and then we'll show you when we paint. Looking good. All right, so we got the box primed. All in all, we got about an hour and a half maybe into this thing total. That's the bottom of it. Came out pretty decent. There's a few flaws in the bodywork, but it's tucked up under the dash. You'll never see it. I used a red oxide primer for kind of rusty metal primer, even though it was sanded and it was sealed. But figure I put a good coat of primer on it, and then we're going to paint it satin black, and that'll be that, and it'll be good to go. And I ran a bead of urethane caulk along the bottom here to stiffen up this a little more too, but it'll be fine. Like I said, it's under the dash, really won't ever be seen. And if it is, it'll still be black and it'll be shiny, or not shiny, satin black anyway. So all right, just figured I'd show you. I'll show you once I put a coat of black on it. All right, so we got the box all painted. Looks pretty good. Did the inside. Oh, that's sticking. Okay, that's, oh, left a mark there. That's okay, not gonna see it. And that's the inside. So got all painted up and good to go. Like I said, it's flat black, inside is satin, and everything works good. So it's all sealed up now. Here's what it is. Alrighty. All right, we got the steering shaft out with the whole column. Took that out. Got the dash pad out. I think I showed you. Got all the wiring moved over. Got the wiper transmission out. Got some other stuff off the firewall. Like I said, the heater box is in. I probably should have painted before the heater box, but all I had to do was just tape that up, and that's fine. Doesn't matter. Also cleaned up the frame a little bit. Some more welding flash, the casting. Just chipped that off, and you know, that's all factory, but like I said, I'm here, so I'm just kind of cleaning it. This is really turning into a pretty big project. You know, I thought I'd just paint the firewall and be done with it. Well, the problem is every time I go to do something, I find something else, and I'm like, oh, I'm right here, I might as well do it now, which is the right way. You know, the original plan wasn't to pull the whole dash apart, but it's out now. So, and all of this has to be painted anyway because we're changing the color to black interior from green. So plan is, as of now, of course these plans change daily, is do the car in white, black top, black interior, but we'll see as we get down the road further. We're nowhere near that, but either way, firewall has to be black. And this part of the dash should be black. It should be the color of the interior. So, all right. Like I said, I just wanted to show you, and finally ready to spray. Got everything wiped down, taped off that we need to. And got our mask there. Everything's sanded. Everything's good to go. Frames wiped down. We are mixing our Rust-Oleum primer. We're going to do approximately 10% to thin it with mineral spirits, and then top coat it with the satin black. We'll probably hot coat, which means we will let that set up for an hour, and then go right over it. This way we don't have to sand in between. And they say you can do that within 24 hours anyway, so we'll see how it goes. As long as I don't have any problems with guns. This is my old primer gun. I already got the pressure set to about 18 to 20. The problem is, underneath the car, you kind of got to tilt it, so I got to tape it up real good so it doesn't leak. Because I want to get up into the frame area with the primer. Not that it's that big of a deal because the frames aren't painted from the factory, but it just makes it look a little nicer. So, all right, when we get one coat on, we will pick you up and show you. All right, we got 2 coats of primer on this. Kind of heavy on the frame here. You can see it's still a little tacky. It's only been 15-20 minutes. I did 2 light coats on the firewall, and I did 2 light coats on the dash, and it actually laid out pretty good. I guess I should have dusted it more in there, but doesn't really matter. That doesn't really get painted anyway. But we got underneath, got a couple runs here where we tried to shoot it up in there, but it's not going to matter at all. I did go kind of heavy in a couple places to get it up into some areas. Like I said before, this car is never going to see any kind of weather again. If it gets caught in the rain, that would be the worst thing, but other than that, it's never going to see snow or anything like that. So like I said, we got the frame all done. We did not do the floor. We're going to undercoat the floor and paint the frame. So next step is we're going to hot coat this. We're going to let this set up a couple hours. It is a little chilly today. It is, let's see, what is it in here? 63 in here, 56% humidity. Actually, it's pretty good for painting. So we're going to let it set up for a couple hours and hopefully come back and spray the black on. And like I said, we'll probably do 2 coats of the black also. Try to get it to lay out as smooth as we can on the dashboard, because that will be seen. Wow, you can barely see that. Wow, you can't see that at all, really. Okay, well, it is what it is. I could probably get a new body fisher tag, but VIN code you can still see good, so that's the important thing. So, all right, well, we'll pick you up once we get a coat of black on it. All right, we got 2 coats on everything. A little heavier than 2 coats on the dash, because that's the only thing that's really exposed. Got all that painted under there, on there. This part from here down is technically supposed to be the color of the car, so we'll probably maybe address that later at some point. Frame's all done. We got underneath all to the back. The only thing we haven't done is where the gas tank goes yet. We didn't do the floor because we're going to undercoat that, but the frame and all up in here is all done, and underneath everything. So all in all, it came out pretty good. Luckily, it didn't wrinkle. I did end up using some acrylic enamel hardener that I had from back in the day. Hardener pretty much doesn't go bad, so I added a little hardener to the 2 quarts. Well, I used 1.5 quarts. So we mixed up 1.5 and put, I guess, about 10 or 15% acetone we used, because that's what they say for the paint. The primer said to use mineral spirits, and I think that's why it wasn't dry. It wasn't dry this morning when I came out here at 6:30 in the morning. So we turned on the heat in here. It was 61 degrees in here, but we had it up to about 70 for 2 hours, and then when I came back, it was pretty much dry. And it was only the seams where the seam sealer is. So, like I said, all in all, it's good. We're going to send it. We're going to put this box back on, see how that looks. If it should be a little bit of a contrast, but it should match pretty well once it dries. It's very low sheen. It's not gloss black. It's not supposed to be. It's satin. So, like I said, looks good. And we have to get under here still. I didn't prep this. I wanted to get the front done, but we still have to do under here and in there. So that'll be next. we'll do that real quick. Probably just show you a quick glance of that maybe when it's done. And that's it. And then we can start getting the rest of the motor together, get the motor set in here. Got to put the heater box back in, steering column back in, all that, a wiper assembly, just a bunch of assembly. And then still have to paint the radiator support and all that. So there's still a ton of work to do, but making headway slowly. So next step is to get these backing plates cleaned up. I got one cleaned up, straightened out, just with a wire wheel and brush. And we'll repaint them the silver color. And then they go back on here. And then we can start assembling the front end again, put our new brakes and everything on. So I still haven't put the heater box on. Gonna do that today also. Paint came out really good, except for a little tiny spot right in the middle of the dash, of course. Actually, it doesn't look that bad, but yeah, like I said, and we still got to do the undercoating on the bottom of the floor pans. I'm gonna try not getting under the car today because yesterday was a lot doing that. So it's hell to get old. Don't get old. All right, let's get these cleaned up, get these painted, and we'll show you once they're painted. All right, so we got the backing plates cleaned, washed, primed, and painted. Some people said they're supposed to be gold like the brake booster, but these were silver from the factory, so we went back with silver. Also, we got the heater box in. Got that all in. Used that rope caulk seal behind there. They make an aftermarket gasket for it, but we didn't go with that. And now we are cleaning the motor and the bolts and putting the blower motor back in, and cleaned it all off, made sure it worked first. Works fine. And now we're putting some paint on it. Satin black, that's what we use for most of the engine firewall stuff. Wire brushed all the bolts. Let me know in the comments below if cleaning takes longer than anything, especially when you're doing a project like this. You know, I got like 2 hours just into this, just to cleaning this stuff and putting the firebox on, but it takes time. It is a passion of love, I guess, if you would call it that. You know, you gotta like doing it, that's for sure. It does become a grind after a while, but you gotta push through it. All right, making headway, and let's keep going, finish painting here. So we got the blower motor in, got the caliper brackets and backing plates all painted on. Them on there. They use special bolts. And we got the steering shaft cleaned. And that's supposed to be natural steel, so I wire brushed it on the wire wheel and clear coated it. So it should stay like that. So, making headway. All right, so yesterday we made some pretty big decisions. We started getting brake stuff back together, and I decided yesterday afternoon that we are gonna pull the body off the frame. I should have done that in the beginning. Never said I was a smart man. But these body bushings are worse than I originally thought. Especially when they got a little paint on them. Didn't realize how bad they were cracked up. And I don't know. It's just going to be easier. I'm only 6 bolts away. Of course, hopefully the bolts come out. That's the plan. I got some blocks from my buddy Ronald, some 12 by 12 blocks, some cinder blocks, and of course I have a bunch of blocks. So we're going to try to bolt this body and slide the frame out from under it. I do have to put the rotors and stuff on so I can put the wheels back on to slide it out. And I need to get it up a little bit higher than what it is. So gonna try to do it. Learned a lot of lessons from doing the last one, things not to do, and hopefully we don't get killed. So plan is today we're gonna try to unbolt this and get it off. I'm not gonna bore you with the whole process. I'll update you when I get the bolts out, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's get started. All right, body is all jacked up. Yes, it's a little sketchy, but it is on there. It's on there pretty good. Did it a little different than we did last time. We blocked it up on the corners, 3 blocks, 6x6 and a 4x4 on each side. See, the thing is you can't put anything in the middle because you got to be able to slide the frame out. So I think it's going to roll out. I let the air out of the tires. It's very, very close. I might have to put this dolly on. That's the dolly I was looking for before. Might have to put that under. Got it up pretty high here. Got these huge blocks under there. It's pretty stable. I mean, it's not like I'm really going to be working under it. I guess I am a little bit, but we'll make it more stable once the frame's out. Let's pull this out a little bit. There we go. Yeah, see? I think it'll hit up here though. Oh yeah. I think it's going to hit the... I think it's going to hit there. So I probably need to move that 2x4 under there so it's high enough, because it looks like it's going to hit where the shock towers are on the back of the rear. But as you can see, you know, all that paint, I couldn't really get into here. So like I said, I wanted to replace these bushings anyway. So I figured, you know, why not just... this was the only body bushing that I had to cut. Every other one came out. I had to cut that one out, and they're usually the easiest, but it is what it is. So like I said, I let all the air out of the tires, get it down as low as I can go. If I had a couple little donut spares, but you can see it just barely clears there, but I don't think it's going to clear the 4x4s up there. So all right, I will show you when it's all the way out, and we'll go from there.